Morning Nigeria. Today we shall examine the fallout of the just concluded United Nations Food System Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
The United Nations Food Systems Summit, UNFSS+4, was held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia from July 27th to 29th, 2025.
And that's right. The summit focused on accelerating the transformation of global food systems to make them more sustainable, inclusive and resilient.
Key objectives included advancing food security, promoting sustainable agriculture and driving inclusive economic growth. The event brought together global leaders, including heads of states, representatives of multilateral organizations, and youth agri-food entrepreneurs.
Well, deliberations centered on the progress made since the inaugural 2021 Food System Summit and on charting fresh pathways to build resilient and equitable food systems across the world.
You're right, Jumai. The summit also featured ministerial roundtables, high-level panels, investment, dialogues and stakeholders' engagements. One of the major outcomes was a renewed commitment to unlocking investment and enhancing accountability for transformative food systems action.
And Nigeria at the summit unveiled a 10-year strategic action plan spanning 2025 to 2035, aimed at transforming the agricultural sector through youth-led innovations. The country also committed $538.05 million to the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones program designed to boost productivity and improve livelihoods in rural communities.
A recurring theme throughout the summit was the call for collective action to address global challenges like food insecurity, climate change and poverty. Leaders emphasized support for smallholder farmers, investment in sustainable agriculture, and the need to scale up agro-industrialization.
And there was also a strong spotlight on the role of young people in shaping the future of food systems and the need for inclusive and forward-looking solutions.
So, is collective action the real key to ending global food insecurity? And how can nations better work together to make it happen? I am Ademola Adeoye. Thanks for starting your day with us. It's the first edition of the week and the first Monday in the month of August on Good Morning Nigeria.
And I am Juma Yusuf, joining my colleague Demola to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria. We're live on the network service of the NTA.
Well, thank you, Timothy Yusuf, for those questions that you have asked. And I believe that our guests who are already seated in the studio are set to provide solutions to some of those challenges that you have raised. Just to let you know that we already have our guest seated in the studio with us this morning. In no particular order, let me just introduce Dr. Kingsley Uzoma. He is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agribusiness and Productivity Enhancement. Dr. Uzoma, it's good to have you join us again this morning.
Good morning, sir, and good morning, Nigerians. Thank you for having me again.
All right, thank you. Dr. Sojo Faniron is the National Convener, United Nations Food Systems, Nigeria. Dr. Faniron, you are welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians.
And we gather that you just retired on Friday.
Yes, sir.
Wow. That's congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
We do hope that all these years that you have accumulated skills and knowledge will be put to good use.
Definitely.
For the nation.
For the nation. Anyway, the SSA to the president is here, so they will still make good use of you. So
Yes.
they're not leaving the system.
Of course.
Okay, Juma.
Yes, and we also have seated here in the studio Engineer Maharuf Olalekon Ajeni Fuja, that Technical Assistant on Partnership and Collaboration to the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, Good Nigeria. Thank you so much.
It's good to have you join us.
Thank you.
All right, so let's just commence our discussion on the fallout of the UN food systems. And I'm going to start with Dr. Faniro, since you are the convener, United Nations Food Systems, Nigeria. Can you just tell us, in your opening remarks, the key takeaways, from the summit, and how do they align with global food security system?
Yeah, thank you very much. Ordinarily, in the course of attending the second stocktake of the United Nations Food System Transformation in Addis Ababa, the first stocktake took place in in Rome. Unfortunately, it was the time the current administration was coming on board, and without even knowing, the president just declared emergency on water and food security, which aligned with what we have been coming up with. And at that point, the government picked this initiative, and the first summit was actually led by His Excellency, the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON. And this time, and unfortunately, he also led the delegation, and that gave us the type of recognition, the global recognition on the commitment of the federal government of Nigeria to food, nutrition and food security. Okay. And at the global level, they are not just looking at us as nobody. Nigeria is now saying if the vice president were to attend such a magnificent global event, it gave us a very good honor. Even in 2022, 2023, we were giving two high-level events. As Nigeria, no country had it. This time, because of the competition, it was too competitive. We were giving only one event, which was chaired by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. It was marvelous. All the agencies, executive of all our partner agencies were in attendance. It was beyond our imagination. So the takeaway from this year's summit was that we need to be more focused on promoting our youth in the food system. Okay. Because some of the initiatives that are already on ground by the federal government of Nigeria on agribusiness promotion is actually coming from the value chain developments. And Nigeria is already embedded. Nigeria is already in the value chain with our partners. We have the value chain development program, which is being championed by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in collaboration with all our credit partners. Let's say the World Bank, the AFDB, Africa Development Bank, the IFAD, International Fund for Agriculture, and even the state governments. And we also have the promotion of special agro-industrial processing zone. That will tell you that we have moved food system implementation in Nigeria from talking to action. And I can assure you that the people, my colleagues here, will bear me witness that government is not taking the issue of agribusiness with levity. So the growth of agribusiness is one of the takeaway. And that growth is actually put in the hand of our youths and women. The value chain development program as women, our youths, I can assure you that even the vice president was able to speak to our youth in Africa because there was an event that was organized. That brought all the youth in Africa together. The youth in agriculture, agri-system, come and see the wonderful things that these youth were doing. They are doing all over the country. They were made to speak, even in other countries too. See what they are doing in Kenya, in Zambia, South Africa. So Nigeria now excel as one of the countries that is actually putting youths at the forefront of our food value chain. And the women too. And this inclusiveness matters a lot because even in the course of the implementation of the food system transformation in Nigeria, the strategy, all the 30 states of the Federation, I always say it, they are involved. As I'm talking to you now, each of the geopolitical zones, because we are using with decentralized coordination, and we will use one state in one of the geopolitical zones, or in addition of another state sometimes, to bring all other states together so that they will all speak together on agri-food system transformation and even nutrition. So the takeaway from this year is that the growth of agri-value chain is critical. in recognition of our youths as the symbol of sustainability is critical. And also the leadership provided by the government of Nigeria is nothing but a talk of the town in the global community. As I'm talking to you, Nigeria is one of the first 20 countries among the member countries of the United Nations that is recognized as the country that is actually championing the implementation of the food system transformation pathways in countries. So Nigeria is recognized as moving forward, and the outcome is not a surprise to us. The outcome of the summit is not a surprise to us because we are already on track. Okay. It's just the sustainability that we need to do, and it is going to be sustained because if you see the commitment, if you see the leadership of the Honourable Minister of Agriculture in the course before the Vice President arrived, then when the Vice President arrived, he took everything over, and most of the relevant sessions, he presided over them and he spoke effectively, even on food sovereignty in Nigeria. Okay. He emphasized the commitment of the federal government of Nigeria, led by the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and his commitment to it, which made him also to tell the global community that Nigeria is on top of even implementing the outcome of this year's Food System Transformation Summit talk that we had in Addis Ababa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fanuel. You know, you sort of opened the floor with so many issues, and Nigerians, you know, Nigeria took an active role in the Addis 2025, and we all know that from the first summit, this is the first time it's happening in Africa, with a huge crowd of almost 3,500 you know, participants, from women and youth to civil society, government officials, and all. So what was our key commitment at the summit, Engineer Maruf?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to appreciate His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, who delegated the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, to lead the high-profile delegation to Addis. Essentially, as if I could echo the sentiment of the national convener, we were already on track in terms of nation's food system transformation. But when we got to Addis, it's a platform for us to showcase what we've been doing in terms of partnership and collaboration, because we realize that we need a fortune to actually make it happen. And as a nation, we can't do it all alone. It requires multi-stakeholder partnership. So the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari CON, understood this very well and pushed for strengthening our bilateral ties with multinational financial institutions. So he organized a lot of bilateral meetings for the Vice President to meet with the top management of the multinational financial institutions like the International Fund for Agricultural Development. So we brought the President of IFAD. We had meetings with them. All our projects we're doing, how do we scale them up to increase impact? How do we extend them to consolidate on the socio-economic gains over the years? So we have a program called the Value Chain Development Program. We have the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone Program. We have the Livelihood Improvement Enterprise in the Niger Delta. These are programs targeted towards accelerating the transformation of the national food system. They're already running, but we're taking or scaling them up. Take, for instance, the SAPZ is a program with partnership with three big funders. We have the AFDB, we have the ISDB, which is the Islamic Development Bank, then IFAD. What we realized so far, the $538 million we have for the first phase in 8 locations, we need to scale it up, mobilize more finances to spread the location across the Federation. This will help us to scale up impact and transform the national food system. It's focusing on providing infrastructure and enabling environment for investors, making it an investment platform to bring in foreign direct investment. So it's like using the foreign debt to provide foreign direct investment. It's a win-win situation for the nation, and it's targeting the youth and women because we are promoting social and financial inclusion for gender. Gender takes a center stage there. About 45% of the beneficiary will be women and youth because we realize the role of youth in Nigeria. Our youth today, the population is huge. If we can turn it to asset, it's better for the nation. And we are on the path to a new height of excellence if we can do that. So the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security understands this very well. So he did not take it lightly to have multilaterals to come into our fold. The partnership with FAO, he also brought the DG of FAO to meet the Vice President and discuss how best to, increase the impact to sustain the gain over the years. Then President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the GCFR, giving them free mandate on food security, and we're on track on that. So as we move on, I will elaborate one by one on each of these programs and what are we doing next to make sure that we consolidate and then we move to the next level. For instance, in the next couple of months, we will onboard 10 more states for SAPZ, apart from the 8 locations we have now. And by next year, we're going to onboard a total of 27 states plus the first 8, meaning that all states of the Federation will key into this transformative project. SAPZ is a flagship project which we showcase in Addis, and the whole world can see it is a global project because of its impact, because of its value, and because of the dedication of the government. We're making a lot of progress in that regard. So, distinguished gentlemen, let me drop it for now, then we'll move to the next level.
Okay. Yes, we'll move to the next level.
Thank you so much. Engineer Maruf, distinguished Engineer Maruf, thank you for your opening comments there. From what you have said, government is doing a lot in the area of food security. Now let's bring in Dr. Uzoma into this discussion. Dr. Uzoma, there's this predicted 1 billion investment in Nigeria's special agro-industrial processing zones program. How is it going to impact the country's economy and food security? Tell us.
Thank you. Before I delve into that, the UN Food System Summit has 3 agendas. Reassessing progress made. We were there July 2023, which was led by the Vice President. Second is strengthening partnerships. Third is unlocking capital and investment to accelerate food system transformation in Nigeria, globally. So, with respect to Nigeria, is Nigeria. So, with respect to the question you asked, I will link it to these 3 objectives of the UN Food System Summit stock-taking event, UNFS +4. 1, reassessing progress. You talked about the 1 billion. In July 2022, we were at the UN Food System Summit stock-taking +2 at Rome. The Vice President had engagement with International Fund for Agricultural Development, Food and Agriculture Organization, World Food Programme, the Prime Minister of Italy, and a whole lot of other high net worth entities.
Okay.
And there he talked about the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone, which we are still trying to get because it's a subsidiary loan. So trying to get all the state governments on board. So he highlighted that to all these entities that he had meeting with. So for this one, reassessing progress. In October 2023, we were at the World Food Prize Program in Des Moines, Iowa. This SAPZ loan is syndicated by the African Development Bank, and co-financed by the Islamic Development Bank and the International Fund for Agricultural Development. So we had also another high-level meeting with the president of African Development Bank in Des Moines, Iowa in October 2023. That was where the president of the bank, Dr. Adesina, now, after lengthy deliberations, with the vice president, he committed to raising additional $2 billion to fund the onboarding of additional 24 states into the SAPZ. So you have the SAPZ 1, which is now 8 states: Imo, Oyo, Ogun, Kwara, FCT, Kano, Kaduna, and Cross River. So we have done the groundbreaking in Kaduna, the second groundbreaking in Cross River. We just returned from Oyo State in Ibadan, Senatorial District, for the third groundbreaking for the Oyo State own. That is strengthening partnership. So for this, we had a further high-level event showcasing the SAPZ and what are the inherent, the inbuilt socioeconomic transformative advantages in its design. And with that, we brought in funders from different stakeholders, from the Gulf, from Badia, from ECOWAS Bank for Reconstruction, beyond the primary 3 stakeholder funding partners, AFDB, ISDB, and IFAD. And if you look at the SAPZ, why is a game changer? It's a baby to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, because he's interested in just transforming the agricultural system from an ecosystem of subsistence to an ecosystem of economic and financial value creation for the quantum leap in the socio-economic transformation of our communities, of the Nigerian agricultural landscape.
Okay.
So, what are we talking about? And this SAPZ is designed to focus on value chains that the host state has competitive advantage on. But before then, before the coming of Mr. President, Nigeria had always been exporting raw material. You know, if you add value to cocoa, you get 3 times the value.
Yeah.
The first point of value addition. So the $1 billion is going to, you know, like, this is foreign debt for foreign direct investment, FD for FDI. So government is doing the heavy lifting by, you know, guaranteeing this loan from these multilateral financial development financial institutions, so that you present the right infrastructure to bring in other, you know, investors within the ecosystem. You build the roads, you build the warehousing system, you connect, like the community we went to, there was no network. However, there will be network. You don't expect an investor to operate in an area that is not connected. So these are part of the infrastructural development heavy lift that is being done by government. Government is not going to run it. You develop it so that other interested private sector partners will come and set up shop within that ecosystem. And what would that do? If you say, for instance, that livestock is one of the value chains, like the one in FCT in Gwagwalada, livestock is one of the value chains that we are looking at. You have cold chain, you have vaccine companies, vaccine storage, you have milk processing, milk collection. So Nestle, for instance, is already showing interest that they will come to FCT, they will have the Buzai milk processing plant, and they have the milk collection. They will now extend the milk collection cans to different livestock farming clusters in and around FCT. Every morning they will come and collect from them. They will feed into the processing plant. So you have people that are collecting, creating jobs. You have the farmers that are nomadic will not be sedentarized, so that every morning they will know the collection point. Somebody will come to collect and pay them. You do financial inclusion, because the company will not pay them cash. The company has to pay them through bank transfer. So you are formalizing the informal sector. It has socioeconomic and security angle to that. You know who these farmers are. You know the financial transaction that goes around them. Okay. And also the government revenue collection system will not be shortchanged. Because if somebody is making 1 million, but it's not financially included, there is no way government will be able to know that this person is making this, not even taxing him. If government wants to extend incentives, support, empowerment programs, it should not be extended to somebody that has enough. So when you do this financial inclusion, you are bringing the informal sector into the formal sector. It helps government in policy and planning. Dr. Fanny Ron just retired from Minister of Budget and Economic Planning. Part of the major limitations they have is lack of access to data. This also helps to solve that. It helps to solve security angle. Then you begin to talk. By the time it starts to gain traction, we need to enhance the productivity of our cows. We begin to have biotech companies set up shops, and I can tell you, because of the SAPZ that has been planned to be hosted in Gwagwalada, there is a company that is developing a semen and embryo storage facility along that route.
Okay.
Ordinarily, they wouldn't have been interested to come. Why they are investing there, where they will set up the advanced lab, they are waiting. The moment there is a groundbreaking and offtake of the SAPZ in FCT, they will now have the phase 2 of their intervention, where they will now have the maternal distance for the embryo transplant. Okay. Because they will produce the embryo, they will superovulate the cows, use the semen to fertilize them in vitro, and store the embryos. So now, they will now go to that SAPZ as the shop to sell the embryos to their clients. Who will be the clients? The small-scale farmer that is producing 1 liter per day.
Okay.
There is market for that. Whereas the embryo of these highly improved and tropicalized dairy varieties can produce between 25 to 35 liters per day. They will be coming there. This is another business activity that is going to set up there. This is just one part of it. They also have other components, sesame, soybean. The soybean component, because of the enhanced transformation within the livestock ecosystem, the demand for soybean cake, for feed meal will be high. The demand for alternative feed resources will be high. We came here last time to talk about cassava. That will also help to key into the cassava production because of the high calorific content of cassava, starch content, and the yield per hectare. So it's a holistic package that Mr. President, out of his very exceptional prowess for designing, making very complex things less complicated and simplified, just for the upliftment of the socioeconomic standard and well-being of Nigerians, has keyed into that, is being driven specifically from the presidency. Okay. Dr. Maruf is advisor to the Minister on Partnership, knows we have a whole lot of bottlenecks from the governors signing, the subsidy, because this loan was indicated for the 8th. So if anyone pulls out, they cannot go forward. It was leveraging the convening platform of the presidency, spearheaded by Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and supported by the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, to drive it, to get the governors to explain the intricacies, the financial intricacies, simplified it to them, before them, and ask them the strategic messaging communication framework to be able to sell it to their respective houses of assembly for the passage and the support and the constitutional mandate to sign and key into this highly transformative project.
Are the governors buying into it?
Yes. We started with 8. In fact, you had the senators and legislators from Northeast complaining that they were excluded because in the first phase, this ordinarily wasn't explained. Because in communication, strategic communication, you have to simplify highly complicated information to be easily accessible and assimilable by the people, the recipients. So the president and the vice president worked together with the governors. I wouldn't want to mention the governors that proved very hesitant, but those governors now, initially, they are not even asking for, they want to have the SAPZ2 in their states. The houses of assemblies, the National Assembly members from those states are asking. You were aware when they had a television chair that they were, so we now told them that no, this administration is working to carry every part of this nation along. That brings me to the third point, unlocking finance and capital to accelerate food system transformation in Nigeria. In July 24th, 2003, when the president represented Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR in the UN Food System Summit that was held in Rome, he met with IFAD. The IFAD president enumerated the benefits of the programs, the value chain development program being implemented in 9 states: Enugu, Ebonyi, Anambra, Benue, Niger, Nasarawa, Ogun State, Taraba, I have not mentioned one state in the north, Kogi, Niger, Nasarawa, and Benue, 4. 3 in the southeast, 1 in the southwest, and 1 in the northeast. It's a $334 million package, but because of the bureaucratic delays in the implementation, most of the funds has not been exhausted, and it was highlighted that we may have to, at the expiration of the program, not expend all the program. And we saw live beneficiaries of this program sponsoring themselves from Nigeria to Rome to come and present the benefits of this program. Okay. And more than half of the beneficiaries are women and youth. So yes. The president, the VP, asked them about the livelihood improvement family enterprises in the Niger Delta states, and then asked them, why are you not implementing in the north? Okay. That gave birth to the design of the VCN, value chain program in northern Nigeria, which will be Borno, Bauchi, Yobe, Kanu, Zamfara, in the northwest, excluding Kaduna, 9 states. So when these legislators asked that why were they excluded? This government is not carrying them along. Mr. President asked that they should be enlightened that we are working to get a program that will be specially dedicated to Northeast and Northwest, as the previous packages and interventions did not consider them. Okay. And that has been, we are still having 1 or 2 bureaucratic administrative bottlenecks to actually kickstarting and signing the loan program. We have signed the roadmap for implementation. And that was part of what the vice president in his meeting with the president of IFAD, we ironed out. That keys into the 3rd objectives: unlocking capital and investment for accelerating food system transformation in Nigeria.
Okay, Dr. Kingsley,
so the
you
3 objectives were met, and we also consolidated and strengthened partnership with our funders and onboarded additional potential funders into this very laudable economic transformation packages of the federal government.
Okay, Dr. Kingsley, you have itemized a lot of issues here and a lot of achievements. We all know that this government is concerned about food security. President Tinubu said no Nigerian should go to bed hungry. And now we're on an international scale where partners are coming in, we're getting and engaging in agriculture in Nigeria. Let me bring in Dr. Fanira into this conversation. Now that Nigeria...
Don't forget to tell our...
Yes, our viewers, please, we're expecting your text messages so that you can contribute to the conversation. Okay, Dr. Fanira, Nigeria has endorsed the 3FS financing framework, just like Dr. Kingsley said. So how will this now impact, our local farmers and agri-SMEs? Mr. Kingsley says some of them were doing so well that they paid to go to Rome to showcase what they are doing. So how can this impact our local farmers and agri-SMEs, especially the youths, actually?
Thank you very much. It's the 3FS, that is the financial flow for food system. Yes. In fact, Nigeria is the 2nd country that keyed into it from the UNFSS food system of. Because we observed that a lot of investment is going into agri-food system, and including nutrition. And this 3FS is actually to look at 2018 as base year. And currently stopping at 2023. And we are looking at all investment that has gone into agri-food system, including nutrition, because nutrition is a component of food system. So when you look at the recommendations that we submitted in 2021 to the UN, we have over 40 speaking to nutrition. Because nutrition is key in Nigeria now. And you can see the presidency is holding it and moving it forward by cascading nutrition into all the 774 local governments, which we are now calling Nutrition 774. And that has become a slogan in Nigeria. So for whatever it may be, the only thing that makes programs work is feasibility of a particular program. The agri-food system transformation, you can hear where Dr. Chris was analyzing what government has actually done in the area of investment and feasibility to food system transformation, including the youth. So the 3FS is actually a strategy to enable the global community knows what the government of Nigeria is investing in the food system. And also to identify the gaps so that government will be able to know whether they are doing well or they are not doing well. I told you that the first thing, you know, my ministry is Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning. Anybody will be wondering, why is Budget and Economic Planning having the national convener? You also observe that the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning coordinates all sectors and provides policy advice to the federal government. And also, we are the interface between the federal government and the states. The Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning is the only one that has it in the Constitution to interface. And that is why we have the Secretariat of National Economic Council domiciled in the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning with our minister as the Secretariat. So that at any point in time, the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning has the convening power to bring all sectors together. And we also have the convening mandates to collaborate for the federal government of Nigeria to collaborate with all the 36 states of federation plus the FCT. And that's where the National Economic Council comes in. And what we did, I saw you, at the initial stage of implementation of the food system transformation strategy was to make sure that all the 36 states of the federation, including the FCT, are brought on board. So when everybody is involved, when everybody is aware, the feasibility is already on ground. So what Dr. Chris is saying now, no governor, no state will say that they don't have knowledge of what the federal government is doing.
Okay. Because
none of them is left behind. So the three FS, the financial flow to food system, is to enable us to see what has been the investment of government of Nigeria in the food system and what are the gaps. Then how do we, undo the existing gaps? You see the financial flow, you see the financial inclusion that you mentioned. Some of these things cannot emerge unless we know where we are. And I can assure you that in the course of this food system transformation, all the state of federation has been encouraged to have budget line for food and nutrition. And because we have State Committee of Food and Nutrition that is actually being chaired by the Permanent Secretary as the technical, as the head of technical stakeholders. Then for the food system now, we are now encouraging a high level because the commissioners are actually excluded. So we are now encouraging a steering committee or a state high-level committee that we made the commissioners of economic planning to chair that coordination arrangement, and now co-chaired by the commissioner for...
Why were they excluded in the first place?
In the first place, that was what the provision of the national policy on food and nutrition. The governance structure just created the council at the next level, National Committee of Food and Nutrition, which is all the federal entities and representatives of the zones. And then the State Committee of Food and Nutrition only now made the permanent secretary to be the head, to head that. So the commissioners are not included. But now we have identified the gap. And now we are in the process of reviewing the national policy on food and nutrition, whereby the commissioners will be brought on board. Because without the commissioner, the governors are dead to whatever anybody is doing. They are the closest person. My minister cannot jump the permanent secretary and be discussing with me. And I cannot jump my permanent secretary and go to my minister and say that is what is, except he asked me to come and brief him on certain things as a technical person. So each state of federation now has actually considered it necessary to have budget line for nutrition and food security. And that was the reason why we initiated the idea of having a high-level technical committee in the state, whereby the Commissioner for Economic Planning will chair that coordination of food and nutrition. And then the Commissioner for Agriculture will co-chair. The Commissioner for Health will co-chair. And the Commissioner for Education will co-chair. Because health has a lot of implication on nutrition. Because when we are talking of healthy diet, we are looking at healthy population. And human capital development is critical. Then the Commissioner for Agriculture, you know, the production. When you hear from Dr. Zuma now and Engineer, the essay to the minister, you see that they are talking from the point of practicality. Our own is to coordinate. We want you to do what you expected to do, and we backstop for that. So now, for the state government, for the states to be able to handhold at the nutrition and agri-food security, those 4 sectors are critical, and all other sectors. We now say that State Committee of Food and Nutrition will also be on ground, but they will be doing the technical, and they are also going to be part of the steering committee, so that there will be a feedback to the commissioners, because commissioner will be calling a high-level meeting to find out what are we doing on agri-food system transformation in our state. Do you want our state to lag behind? You see what they are saying about FCDP now. You see what they are saying about SAPC. You see that all state of they are interested. Yesterday, I mean, 2 days ago, I was watching the television on what Dr. Zuma was saying, on what the Oyo State government is now doing to make sure that they are one of the champions in the FCDP and SAPC, which is a competitive arrangement that we want all the states to imbibe. So with that, there will be financial inflow into agri-food system transformation in all the states of federation. Okay. And if it has not been there before, we want to know what has been there. Then what is likely to be the difference going forward. Because the 3FSS is actually being limited to this year, 2018, then to 2023. Then from 2023 to now, you see a lot of improvement. You see what all the state governments of federation are doing now on agri-food system. None of them is taking it to deliberately because the president is emphatic. Everybody sees its direction, and everybody sees. And you know why people are crying? There is always a gestation period for anything. A lot of investment has gone into agri-food system development in Nigeria, but it cannot overnight just emerge as success. So definitely it's like constructing a road.
It's a process.
It's a process, and it takes time. By the time the gestation period comes now, people will now be clapping. They will have forgotten the pain. So the commitment of government of Nigeria to financing agri-food system security is critical. That is why the global community want to know what are we actually doing in transforming our food in terms of government commitment, apart from partnership that we are having with some of their development partners across the globe.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Faniro, for that. Let's bring in Engineer Ajenu Fuja now want to get into the discussion. You talked about the issue of sustainability, that is the issue of multi-stakeholders partnership. And also you talked about the how to turn the huge population, the youth population, and make it more useful. Now, my question would be, the summit featured, youth declaration calling for urgent action on food system. So what role do you see for youth now in Nigeria, especially in shaping the future of food system?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me echo your sentiment again. Sustainability leads to prosperity.
Yeah.
So the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari CON, he understood this very well. So he gathered all the stakeholders together, and he did not miss any opportunity to strengthen the ties with the partners. I'll give you an example. The Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, we have a very strong relationship with them because we see them as the Global Ministry of Agriculture. So in moving forward, we need data. And the minister emphasized this. And the FAO has agreed to work with us to develop the farm registry where we know which youth is doing what and will be captured. That will help us in our policy implementation because in all this program, during the design, we work with statistics to know what are the population of the vulnerable groups, what are the categories of them, with this also the demographic features of this group, then we now plan. Now, what we've done so far that we intend to scale up after at this 2025 is narrowing down those projects specific to youth and women in terms of percentage. As I told you earlier on, most of our project design now is we'll have like 45 to 50% targeting the youth and women as beneficiaries. Okay. So what do I mean? Take, for instance, the SAPZ. In so many of our locations, we will have production clusters, we will have processing clusters. In the production clusters, we have farmers who will be producing the raw materials to feed into the processing clusters. So the people that we will support in the production will be minimum of 50% of women and youth. And in the processing clusters, we will have the small, medium, and large-scale enterprises, the agro-processing investors. The people that will submit and will support more in terms of category is basically 45 to 50% of women and youth. Okay. Now, let me echo the sentiment of the national convener that no pain, no gain in his closing remark. We had a groundbreaking yesterday, and day before yesterday, in Oyo for SAPZ. It is for the construction of the hub that will do backward integration. But it will take like 1 year, 6 months to 1 year, 8 months before they will complete the hub, because we're providing all the various infrastructure like road, power, just like you highlighted, the telecommunication, the environmental infrastructure, and the processing industry will be established, bringing their investment down, and they will need various aspects of the nation food system that will support the growth of the agro-processing industries. It is the youth and women that will anchor all those segments. When you talk of production, we will run climate-smart agriculture for them. We will introduce digital innovation to it, because in the 21st century, you can never be agriculturally effective if you are technologically defective. So for us to bring youth on fold, we introduce more of innovation and technology.
Okay.
That is what will make it, if you permit me, is to make agriculture sexy to the youth. If you have,
I like that word, sexy. I like
if you
that.
have a vibrant young population, in the whole world today, Africa has the most population of the youth. In terms of land for agriculture, in the whole world, Africa has 60% of it. And in this 60%, the 60% of it is in West Africa, and Nigeria has the 60% of it. So Nigeria is the future for the global food system transformation. So we have youth in terms of population. What we need to do more is to do sensitization, advocacy, then bringing innovation and technology to attract the youth more into this food. Some of them are there already doing fantastic job, but it's not a walk in the park with the gestation period. So we will only appeal more to more youth to come into agricultural food and ensure that we have all the energy and nest to transform the nation system. I'll give you an example. My son graduated from secondary school, and I encouraged him to go and study agriculture. That is where the future lies. So beyond the rhetoric of talking, there is future in agriculture. And by the time we're able to create all these projects together, we open up more opportunity for people. We will be able to expand the size of our middle class as a nation. Some nations have over 50 to 60% of the population now as middle class, but we do not. But we have a chance to do that. And that can happen if we implement all these programs efficiently well to transform our nation food system. Now, that is for SCPZ. We have the VGDP already ongoing. They started with 6 states. Now, they expanded to 9 states. The 3 additional states added were Nasarawa, Kogi, and Enugu, making it 9. Now, the impact has shown, and some of their youth, they came to Rome to exhibit their projects. The success stories, these are testimonials. So what do we do to make things better? You look at those areas where you can do small impact and create the bigger change. So VGDP, SAPZ, LiveND, they are game changers. And they are already on track. But what we need to really scale them up so that we can increase the impact. Bring in more youth on food. Because if we do that, they'll be able to structure their life. Some youth now, they've graduated, they're now 30 years old, they don't know their future. There's no adequate job for them to do. But in agriculture, there's abundant job in it.
Okay, there's abundant job in agriculture. Some experts in the agriculture sector said the negligence in the colleges of agriculture, federal colleges of agriculture, has led to disinterest from the youths in Nigeria. So how are we going to revive these colleges of agriculture to ensure that these youths are sexy about it?
Very good, and I love that. Remember recently, there was a launch of the Renew Hope Agricultural Mechanization Program, where we have 2,000 tractors launched by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Part of the plan we want to do to revive them is we will distribute these tractors and assorted implement, to all the colleges of agriculture, so that our graduates from there, they will be able to practice and understand the rudiment of this, not that they are just using tractor in the bulk. They will operate practically. They will operate it because practice makes perfect. If they have been doing it during their course of training, it will give them the insight what the future holds. And there will be agribusiness component to it. How do you run agriculture as a business to make a living and to channel a better future for yourself? So if we are able to give to them, we will not collect 1 naira from them. But other stakeholders, they will pay money. We have subsidy on it, which I will not roll out yet because we are still awaiting the approval of the President on the framework to do that. So by the time we're able to do that, those agricultural colleges, they will be able to use those implements to train their students and at the same time open up more land and generate revenue for their institute. It will become a very good source of IGR for them. So if we do that, some youth will see it as a venture. Like in Rome, a lady came, he exhibited his agri-mechanization businesses, how he started. He got a scrap, he was using that, and later, before you know it, she was able to accumulate more funds and got more tractors. Now she's controlling mechanization activities of over 500 hectares of land. And that is one. And that's a success story. And that's a model to other youth. I'll give you an example. It is just about individuals and the perception. It's about people to see the future in what they believe in. There is no dry place. There are only dry people. I remember very well, as a staff, federal government staff, when I realized that my take-home pay cannot take me home, what do? And I cannot run away, and I cannot go and steal. I went to learn more on practical fishery. How do you incubate? How do you establish archery? After learning, I established my archery, and I put it behind my backyard. Guess what? I was able to turn out a lot of fingerlings and juvenile from it, and I'm still working for the federal government. At the end of the day, I was getting millions of naira from there without any approval, while my salary was 24,000 naira then, in 2007 to 2010-11. Believe you me, I built my houses from it, from the proceeds of it. I mean, it's like you build a CBN behind your backyard. So taking that bold step is very important. So we need to roll out a lot of courage and encouragement for our youth to see the future in that.
Dr. Engineer Ajene Fuja,
Thank you so much.
There's no dry place, there are only dry,
Dry
people.
people.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Maybe on that note, we'll take a break. When we come back, because we still need to talk about, you talked about the issue of multi-stakeholders partnership, and we'll look at how do we bring in private investors into this scheme. Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, and we are discussing the fallout of the UN Food Systems Summit that was held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. We still have our guest in the studio, but we have some questions and comments from some of our viewers, which we would read out so that our guests can respond to them. This one says, good morning, presenters and guests in the studio. Good morning, Nigerians. Agriculture is a very important business and a tool to fight hunger and improve food security in any nation of the world. My question is, to your guest, is about this issue of this GMO that is trending on social media on a daily basis. Can your guest please enlighten me, including Nigerians, the truth about the advantage and disadvantage of GMO on the health of African people and Nigerian in particular? Thank you, from Alaji Garko Karu site in Abuja. This one says, good morning. My name is Prince Yusuf Hassan from Kogi. Dr. Uzoma, may God Almighty protect you and your family for the way you talked about food system in Nigeria. I mean, that's one of your guys there. This other one is Ken Peter Tability from Adamawa State. It says, good morning, guest, and good morning, Nigeria. Food items have gone down to an extent. Kudos to the federal government on that. However, the hikes in prices of fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides have remained so. So what is your take on that? Then this one says, good morning. Please, the technical assistant to the Honorable Minister of Agriculture should tell when they are allocating the 2,000 tractors that the President flagged off last month or so. It's long overdue for tractors to be in farm. Mind you, we are in August. And this one is from Douglas Akuba from Nasarawa State. Dr. Uzoma, you want to respond to some of these questions?
Well, I will start with the price of fertilizer and pesticides.
Yeah.
As you all may know, the active ingredients of those agrochemicals are not, you can blend them in Nigeria, but they are not produced in Nigeria. We'll start with fertilizer. NPK is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The nitrogen in fertilizer comes from urea. We produce urea in Nigeria. Dangote, petrochemical, Indorama, Note Chemical. So we have the advantage. However, MOP and DAP, that's phosphorus, potassium and phosphorus, are imported. Phosphorus from Morocco. That's why you have the OCP in Nigeria. The potassium, either from Russia or from Canada or from Lithuania, they are not produced in Nigeria. So when you factor in the global logistics, the shipping cost, the transportation from the mine to the seaport, the shipping to Apapa seaport, and transporting them back to the blending plants, we have the production capacity far more than any country in Africa. We have close to 80-something blending plants. So these things are purchased abroad, and they have to factor in that. So what would you do to optimize this? I'm always interested in optimization, input minimization, and output maximization. That is optimization. Lagrange, if you're in agric, everybody in university must have done that. So it's by adopting the good agronomic practices. Last time we were here, we talked about the Abayewa farm. He linked up from Ekiti. Abayewa farm is producing between 30 tons to 40 tons per hectare of cassava. The average farmer, the average yield in Nigeria is 6.1 tons. So Abayewa is making between 6 to 7 times more than the average farmer is making, 5 to 7 times more than the average farmer is making. What are they doing? They are adopting the good agronomic practices. When the cost of fertilizer increases, the fertilizer is the input. All what you need to do, the denominator, to see how you increase the denominator to have a higher optimization factor. So, research, follow your extension services. Thank God for internet, YouTube, where you don't have, because remember agriculture is in the concurrent list. The extension is supposed to be supported by the local governments, by the states, and federal government setting the policy framework. So where it is lacking, help yourself, research, find the right planting date. The Nigerian Meteorological District, they are giving you that information. Find the right variety. Because more often than not, people go, when I was growing up in the village, there is a cassava variety, they call it Waba. I used to remember my late mom of the blessed memory. Waba is short. If you can farm 1 hectare of Waba, you won't get what can last you for 2 weeks. But there's another variety that came up. When the variety came up, people, the stem is a little bit reddish. Waba is whitish. People say, this one, is it not the white people? They want to do this, they want to do. It's all manner of unfounded, unscientific, emotion-driven campaign against the varieties that will support you. So my mom tried it in a very little plot. What we got from that plot was like 5 times what we got from a plot that was 10 times the size of that plot. That means the yield was like 50 times more. So the following year, other women followed my mom, collected the stem and planted. Before you know it, it spread. We maintained our fertilizer use. We more than quadrupled or increase yield by 10-fold. So that is the way to go. Okay. This is not under the control of Mr. President. The active ingredient, even the chemicals that are blended in Nigeria, it has active, just like in pharmacy, active API, pharmaceutical ingredients. You have the active agrochemical ingredients which are manufactured. But the president is working. That is why all these value chain programs is doing to set up financial flow for food system so that these things will begin to be manufactured in the country. This is what he's doing with NNPC. This is what the Dangote Petrochemical will do. And every other incentive of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, together with the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, that's been spearheaded, engineered, designed by Mr. President and given the mandate to the line ministries to implement. Okay. That brings you back. So like maize or rice, you are from the person, the caller was from Adamawa, so you have farmer of grains. Go and look for the right varieties that will give you optimum utilization of optimization of the output from the input. Okay. But if you get stuck in the local one, so if the price of fertilizers remain, you are using a variety that gives you 8 tons per hectare. And they are using a variety that the max, no matter if you pour a trailer load of fertilizer, is going to give you 3 tons. You will not break even. But that person that is using 8 will break even. The same thing I use Abayewa farms are making 30 to 40 tons. Let us take the lower limit. And they say the prices has collapsed to from 150 to 75. So if you are getting 30 tons, the lower limit of their yield, it is 2,225,000, 250,000 you are making. So Even if you spend 1 million making that per hectare, or even 1.2 million, you will still make profit. However, if you use a variety that gives you 6 tons, or you don't follow the right agronomic practices, you get 6 tons and you spend 800,000, you're in trouble.
Okay, Dr. Uzoma, I mean, we have other questions here. The issue of the GMO, are you going to respond to that as well?
The GMO, like I said, is a conversation that is driven not based on science, but based on emotions and misinformation. I will give you an instance. Everybody is talking about Brazil today. Brazil export of soybean in 2022 was $66 billion. Soybean in Brazil, GMO. Brazil export of maize, GMO. South Africa, well, let's not go far. Within the African continent, South Africans have, we are in the food system pathway. The food security rating of South Africa is higher. It's GMO. The United States of America, everybody is queuing up, struggling to cross through Latin America to enter. It's GMO. But let's not use US. Let's use Brazil, the South-South Corporation. Brazil is the king of GMO. The agricultural transformation of Brazil. What is the life expectancy of Brazil when the economy changed as a result of the agricultural transformation? And what is the current life expectancy? It increased. What is the life expectancy of South Africa? And again, the campaign about, let's say, the telemase. The telemase was developed by Nigeria, Institute of Agricultural Research, ABU, and National Biotechnology Distinct. Professor Abdullahi and Rose. Let me get the lady's name. This were developed.
Okay.
And the intellectual property gene was not hooked or lined before they did that. So I will advise anybody, people are being misinformed. They say, I was listening to one medical doctor saying it's a pesticide. No. There are, every other variety we are using now has been bred to have pest and disease resistance. This is one of the attribute factors for yield distance. There are people need to sit down and have an honest science-based conversation and not misinformation. It's just like vaccines. There is so much misinformation about vaccines, polio, that is sterilization, is this. I was speaking with Honorable Minister the other time in this office, and we were just having this conversation. He said all the people that said, he's going to stay, they took it, that they're having many children. It didn't happen. But people are still stuck in that misinformation.
That is why there must be more education, more enlightenment, and more information out there so that people...
Where the United States is because they will say it's the West.
I have to pause you there, please.
Brazil is not the West. Brazil is the king of GMO.
Okay,
so look at your corned beef. Everybody eats corned beef. It's written on the label fed with GMO soybean. Go and read. If you are taking short breast, if you are taking all these imported processed these things, they are using GMO corn or soybean to produce them.
Okay,
and it has not killed them. It has enhanced their life expectancy and enhanced their yield.
Okay, Dr. Kisley, I'm sure most people don't even want to read the label on things. They just buy it because they want it.
They are hungry.
Yes, they're hungry. Engineer Maruf, somebody asked a question about the rollout of the
2,000 tractors.
Because this is August and the farming season is already on track. So when are we getting it?
Yeah, thank you very much. What I would say from my opening remarks would be like, we've done the needful in terms of having a framework for distribution, and we forwarded the request for approval to Mr. President. So now we realize that there are some people who are not actually farmers that may actually get into this fold. So immediately we get a signal, we sat back, we said, okay, let's review this process to ensure that we correct the errors of ages. We don't want people who are not farmers to get access to government interventions.
But they call them political farmers.
I don't want to use the word political farmers. I work with the politicians, and I don't know tomorrow I may not be a politician. So let's be like, in the choice of word, we're trying to be like be more technical, be more like strategic. Now, when want to establish a system like M&A system, that if we are given tractors out, they are already tracked. We want to ensure that we're able to monitor the tractor, whether they are being put to use or not, whether they are delivering as at when due, whether they are put into in the location where they are being registered to be distributed. Because we want them to service different locations, different communities. And let me tell you, we are not only rolling out 2,000 tractors. That is just the first tranche. In the next 5 years, we have a plan to have up to 30,000 tractors. From John Deere, for instance, we're expecting 10,000 tractors, 2,000 per year. So we've gotten 2,000 now from Belarus. We also have 10,000 from them also. So in aggregate, it's 30,000 in the next 5 years. Now, without saying, okay, let's get it right. If we're able to establish the data that will give us a focus and direction in terms of the people that we're given this tractor to, number one, in terms of how do they impact and increase the tractor density of Nigeria. You know, FAO rule out statistics in terms of the tractor density of Nigeria, that we have a very low tractor density, like 0.2, 0.02, like thereabout. Now, we want to take it up to 1.5 prescribed for us by the FAO. In terms, we have a partnership with them on that also. So if we get this approval and we are done with this process of monitoring and evaluation, like a database, we have a dashboard that we can say, okay, this tractor is not working. We'll reprocess it and take it to another location where it's needed, where it will be more impactful, where we can get a better result. So in correcting the errors of ages, it may take a little while. But as soon as possible, we're rolling it out. So thank you so much. That's my summary.
Okay, Dr. Fanyeran, we're talking about climate change, which affects agriculture around the world. And Nigeria is trying to align with the food system, you know, with climate adaptation. So how will Nigeria's journey be with the rest of the world in achieving the 2030 SDG goals?
Thank you very much. You know, if you would notice currently, Nigeria is conscious of the effect of climate change. And if you follow the trend with respect to the strategy of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, the Federal Ministry of Environment, you know, the emphasis now is on climate-smart agriculture. And even by the time we were having an exploratory dialogue on what are the essentials of transformation of our food system, climate action was one of the action tracks. But in most cases, you see, the issue of climate change is a new trend that has caught everybody unaware. Even farmers cannot predict what will happen the next minute now. You see what happened last year in Yobe State with respect to the drought. You see the type of discouragement that kind of a thing can bring. So, but government is not resting on our horse. So a lot of strategic efforts are being put in place. And that's why climate-smart agriculture is now being given priority or preference by the government of Nigeria. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture, the Federal Ministry of Environment, and all other relevant sectors are actually rising up to the situation. And even the global community. Now we are having a request from the UN Food System Coordination Hub now that we should have a convergence dialogue on climate resilience, climate action on our agri-food system transformation, in which Nigeria has keyed into. Any moment from now, we'll have to use our geopolitical zones to conduct the convergence. I mean, collaboration with all stakeholders, the Minister of Agri. In fact, the Minister of Agri was supposed to be engaged in Addis on this. But unfortunately, there are a lot of packed programs for him, including the bilateral discussion. And the presence of the Vice President was also an issue, that he cannot just leave the Vice President to whatever discussion. So the issue of resilience, climate action, mitigation, adaptation is key and critical to our agri-food system transformation. And I can tell you, even as a Nigerian, we have also joined other African countries to now have a coalition that will be on that. We have the coalition of resilience, local food and nutrition value chain. I mean, that is, we call that in Africa, that we call Africa Alliance. So this alliance has identified Nigeria as one of the critical parts that they will to make sure that the issue of, when we talk of climate action, we are looking at climate education, information, and communication.
All right, Dr.
The solution is in the back.
Can I add to that? There is a government initiative that is specifically designed to address the inconsistency of rainfall pattern and the incessant drought in the country. Under the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund, you have the Irrigate Nigerian project. This has never been, irrigation has never been taken as a serious intervention by any government previously in this country. So there is a dedicated line funding for that. It was launched earlier this year in Bauchi, where they are targeting 10,000 hectares. But Mr. President's vision is to have 5 million hectares of farmland under irrigation. Not only irrigation for dry season, because more often than not, you have in-season drought now. So Mr. President has this very bold vision, laudable vision, that he wants to set up the irrigation lines across all the length and breadth of the farmlands in the country, that even beyond the dry season farming, the rain-fed farming, where we are suffering from in-season drought, you operate under irrigation-based supplement to rainfall. Okay, that is a major intervention being spearheaded, designed and spearheaded and implemented by this president. No other president has done that before.
Okay, and Dr. Uzoma, I want to ask before we round up this discussion, we talked about the multi-stakeholders participation in the sustainable food system. What opportunities, it's available exist for private, sector investment in the sustainable food system?
Well, I will narrow it down now to the value chain program, the VCDP and the VCN and SAPZ. Like I said, government is leveraging, doing the heavy lifting, providing the infrastructure. Like, let me use your own. The road has been cleared, it will be tarred. They will be connected to pipe-borne water, to communication, to basic cold chain facilities that addresses the processing, post-production needs of the value chain of interest, the targeted value chain within that ecosystem, the warehousing system, all the basic infrastructural requirements to kickstart, to be able to net in the right investors to come into that, police post, security, all these things, electricity generation. You saw when the Governor Makinde told them that they will not have 24 hours electricity because you cannot run such an industrial district. So when all these things are put in place, the private sector will come and set up, and that will create thousands upon thousands of sustainable livelihood jobs. Then let's go to the value chain.
We've run out of time.
No, I'm talking about the value chain development in the north.
Yes.
It's targeted, production and market system. Market system is a private sector partners. And for instance, this is 40% women, 30% youth, 15% men, 10% persons with disability, and 5% returnees from displaced individuals, making it 100%. So, and in that, the major component is 70% market systems, because the problem is not the supply side or demand side. You have to be able to work in backward integration from the demand side to focus. That is the market system, and that will leverage enough capital, like in Kano, which is one of the beneficiary states of the value chain development program for the north. The market system, we are looking at enhancing the operational efficiency and the reach of the Dauna grain market.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Uzoma. You are so passionate about what government is doing for sustainable food system. So we just round up now.
Dr. Kistu Uzoma, SSA to the President on agribusiness and productivity enhancement. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I love your passion, actually.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians. And let's all key into government activities. The president is doing a lot to support, like what he has done in the value chain program in the north, which wasn't captured in the previous design of the value chain program. He asked, why is northern Nigeria not captured? And because of that, he has unlocked $158 million investment to spearhead value chain program in northern Nigeria, covering Borno, Yobe, Bauchi, Kano, Zamfara, Kebbi, Jigawa, Sokoto.
Okay, Dr. Kisley,
we're going to have you again.
We're going to have you again. It's a continuing conversation. And Dr. Sajo Fani, National Convener, United Nations Food System. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Sajo. And Engineer Maruf Olaleko Ajeni Fuja, Technical Assistant on Partnership and Collaboration to the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. I love your terminology. It's sexy to be in agriculture now. Thank you so much for coming on Good Morning Nigeria. It's been a pleasurable conversation. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for that. And again, we'll come back to talk more about partnership we have with the FAO, with the WFP, that the Honorable Minister is championing and ensuring that we're able to mobilize more resources for nation's food transformation to bring more youth and women on fold and transform them into assets to the nation.
Thank you
so much. And that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. We hope you enjoyed the conversation, and another topic will be up tomorrow for discussion. I am Jumwa Yusuf. Do have a wonderful day.
And I'm Ademola Adio. Thanks for joining us. Do have a fabulous day.